Hi everybody. Hello everybody. Hi. Hi
Hello,
Devki.
Sarita. Good morning.
Good morning. Always good to see you.
Same here.
And
Good to connect.
yes, and thank you for coming for this Instagram live. I know you're busy with so many commitments and all, but you took out time. Thank you so much, Devki.
It's my pleasure, Sarita, for you.
Hey, I would like to say hello to everybody who is here already. I can see Ravik, Ravi, Happy, the storytelling fellow, Pooja. Okay, all right. Thank you all for showing up in the morning, 11 o'clock, and cheering us up. And let's begin, Devki.
Sure.
So tell me, how is life going on with you?
Going well. As you said, busy
Yeah,
right now. We have a storytelling festival coming up in Mumbai called Gatha, and
right.
we are all gearing up for it.
Superb, superb, superb. So, without further ado, let me quickly introduce you to our audience. Devki Bhujang Gajare is a professional storyteller, author, mom of two avid readers, Mihir and Meera, and founder of an extraordinary story program, my favorite program called the Little Reader's Nook. Little Reader's Nook is an emotion to me, it's not just a story program. So, yeah. Moving ahead, so Devki also trains mothers and teachers in the art of storytelling, for she believes that every child deserves a good story. How wonderful. And Devki also says that stories are a magic potion that helps us understand the real world and builds confidence to deal with its challenges. That's so true, Devki. Yeah. So let's go on to the first question.
Sure.
So, Devki, what is storytelling? Can you just explain that, and why is it important that we should tell stories?
Yeah. Great question to begin with. I'll start with the technical definition of storytelling. It's the telling of what happened in very simple words. Telling what happened, and we're constantly telling each other what happened to us, what happened to other people, right? So we are constantly telling stories. But in storytelling, you try and do it in a way that excites the imagination, that touches an emotional chord somewhere. To put it in a nutshell, for me, if you ask me storytelling, the next word that comes to my mind is connection. Storytelling is how I connect to other people, and I think it is the way everyone connects to each other through stories. So storytelling is connections, and that is the reason why we must tell stories, right? Because connecting is a very innate human need. We all need food, water, shelter. After that, we need human connection. We need to feel connected to other people. We need to trust other people around us, and storytelling helps us do all of that. Sharing stories is the way humans used to communicate before there was WhatsApp and Instagram and all of these other modern day social media tools. We had storytelling.
Absolutely, Devki. Wonderful. That storytelling is connections. And that is the need of the hour, I believe, with all these digital things coming, that is big time missing.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
please.
You walk into a restaurant, you see two people sitting at the same table, and both of them are holding a mobile phone, and it's a little sad to see that. And that's when storytelling can help break that barrier, and people can start talking to each other.
That's very true. Beautifully put, like storytelling is done to build connections. I totally agree with that. And coming to our main thing, what impact does stories have on children?
So actually, stories have an impact on everyone, but as
Hmm.
adults, we don't want to, we have too many barriers we have put around ourselves. Whereas children are no filter. So you start telling a child a story, and the way the
Mm.
child will react, the eyes wide open with wonder, mouth slightly open, eyes glued onto you, that is the impact that storytelling has on the child. And today the attention span is reducing so much, and still, if you start telling a story in the right way to the child,
Mm.
the way the child listens, I think it's magical. That's why I call stories like a magic potion. And the benefits everyone is aware of, I think, the kind of surface level benefits like language skills, vocabulary, comprehension, all of that. I think most parents are today aware of those benefits, but at a deeper level, I think, what happens when you tell a story to a child, that wide-eyed wonder with which the child is listening,
Mm.
the child's mind at that time is a sponge.
Mm.
And any message that you want to give the child, especially some important values that you want to pass on, good habits that you want to inculcate in the child, any message that you pass on through that story, that message, the child is open to receiving it, and it sticks on in the memory, because stories strike an emotional chord in all of us, right? As an
Absolutely.
engineer, I always go back to science and I always ask, why does this happen?
Mm.
And what science has told me is that there is a mirroring effect that happens when we are telling a story.
Mm.
Our emotions and the child's emotions, the listener's emotions, are exactly mirror images of each other. And when we share these common emotions, that's when there's a bond, a trust that's created between the teller and the listener. And that is when real influence can happen. You can inspire people, you can send across any message that you want to.
Mm.
And
Mm.
it's actually a position of great responsibility. You have to treat it with a lot of responsibility, because you could give out wrong messages also. You have to be very careful when you tell a story like that.
True, true.
According to me, anything you want a child to do, you can tell that to the child through a story.
Absolutely. And as you said, it is connecting emotionally. And so when you tell it through stories, it lands better and the response is better through storytelling, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the memory also, it stays
Yes.
memorable and impactful for longer.
Yes, yes. They keep connecting that behavior to the story and they know how to respond to it rather than just reacting.
Yes.
Wonderfully put, wonderfully put. And I have learned so much from you, like, being with you. I think 2013 was the first time when we met. Grateful to God, where we met in a self-development program
Yes.
and we were in the same group, and the rest is history. And that those are very, I'm grateful to the universe that we met across and
Very
wonderful.
beautiful shared history.
Yes, yes, and I learned so much from you, Devki.
Like,
You're a wonderful trainer and a wonderful visionary, I would say. And the work what you do is phenomenal. I really respect and I'm proud of that. And the world needs that. And keep doing whatever you do. Keep
thank
walking
you.
the path. So coming back to the next question, can you share your journey, like, about storytelling? What inspired you? Why did you start? At a time when there was, in India, when there was not many storytellers, nothing of that side. I was never aware. Like back in 2013, I was not aware about storytelling. I used to tell stories to my children, two children, and all that was there.
Yeah.
But how come you got this concept and there was no storytellers around? You were the trailblazer, I would call. Yes.
I
Can you
wouldn't
tell
say
me?
there were no storytellers around, but it was not, there were not as many as there are today, for
Yes,
sure.
yes, absolutely.
And for me personally, I stumbled upon this field of
Hmm.
storytelling. It started for me as a mother, like it starts for so many of us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Till I became a mother, I was a reader. I
Hmm.
would love reading stories.
Correct.
And the moment I had this little baby in front of me, and I was looking for ways to connect with this child.
Hmm.
Okay. And I had a son. My firstborn is a son.
Hmm.
And with his dad, I would see he would connect because they were both interested in sports. So they would throw a ball around and they would connect with each other.
Hmm.
And I couldn't do that. So I was looking for ways in which I could connect with him.
Correct.
And I noticed when I started telling him any story, anything, didn't matter what I
Hmm.
told him,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
the way I told it, he would listen to me. And I noticed that, he's responding there. So that's when I began telling stories. Then
Hmm.
I started buying up lots of storybooks for him.
Hmm.
And somewhere I was home on a sabbatical at that
Hmm.
point. We had just returned from New York. I had given up my software career to be home with
Hmm.
my son. And there was a vacuum in my life. I couldn't sit still and only be a mother. I wanted to do something more. At the
Hmm.
same time, I didn't want to go out and work 9 to
Correct.
5. So I thought of it, I have so many books at home, let me start a library. So I started a children's library first in 2012, September. It's been 12 years now. And I called it Little Reader's Nook. Okay. And the library got a fair response, not amazing, not bad. But the mothers who would come, they would sit and chat with me. The children would also come. Sometimes the mothers would complain, this book is very nice, but my child is not listening when I read. So then I said, okay, let me try. And then I would sit and I would read, and then the child would listen. And then somewhere I discovered that beyond my own child, I have this knack of reading out a story in an interesting way. So it started in that way for me, very small, humble way. And I stumbled upon this. The more I found out, I noticed that, okay, now there is something called storytelling, not just book reading, which I can do. Right. And the journey began from there.
Wonderful, wonderful to know. What a beautiful journey. And because of, I could see the ripple effect from there, how your journey started by a small step and now where it is going, impacting the world, I would say. Tremendous. Coming back to our next question, Devki, I noticed in your social media post, you talk a lot about social emotional learning. Can you put light on that? Why do you talk? What is social emotional learning, and how through storytelling we can tell it to our children? Can you?
Thank you for
explain
asking this. This is a subject very close to my heart. Social emotional learning is actually pretty much common sense. It's something very basic, and it's something that we learn as adults. We have learned it over the years, right? It's about dealing with our emotions, recognizing our emotions, dealing with other people, that's social skills. When there's a conflict, how do you manage that conflict? When there's a decision to be taken, how do you make that decision? All of these are real world skills. Loosely we call it people skills or EQ, emotional quotient. These are different terms that we use for this. And you and I think, Sarita, we went to state board schools. We were definitely not taught this as children.
Yes.
SEL. Well, we were not taught. Now, today, my daughter goes to an IB school. She has SEL as a subject there. But my son went to a CBSE school again, and he didn't have this. He didn't learn this. And nobody's teaching many of the children these skills. And these skills are so important in real life.
Absolutely.
Whether it's in school, when you deal with your friends, when you're bullied, maybe you face peer pressure, you're afraid to do things, or later on, even in real life, we have so many of these challenges that come our way. And nobody's teaching us how to deal with those challenges. Even as parents, all the parenting challenges, again, this is all SEL, right? If you are in control of your social and emotional skills, you can be a better parent, but we were not taught that.
Yes.
So I'm very passionate about getting children to learn SEL at a young age. And then how do you teach that? There are many ways to teach SEL, but I think one of the best ways you can teach SEL is through stories. And the reason is that coming back to that emotional chord that I told you, right? Stories touch an emotional chord.
Yes.
So children are more open to listening. Secondly, stories are all about other people. They're not about us. So when we are put into a challenging situation, that's not the best time to learn because we're so overwhelmed with these big feelings at that time that trying to teach a child at that time is not going to work. But if you narrate a similar story to the same child at a time when the child is very calm, so that becomes a very safe space. The child's big emotions are not involved at that time. But there is a third person, a character in the story who's going through a similar challenge. And that through that character's journey, the child can learn how to deal with his or her own journey. So I think, yeah, so that is something, that is a very powerful application of stories. And I don't like to treat stories as entertainment, honestly. Although children love stories, that's true. But I like to go beyond and see what is a larger purpose in what I'm doing. And I think SEL is a great application for storytelling.
I agree completely, Devki. Can you, for our audience sake, can you highlight on this with an example, like you have taken stories, right? Can you bring a child scenario where SEL was effective after through storytelling?
I can tell you a story from my own life. So when my son was little, maybe 3 or 4 years old, my husband and I, we were playing either tennis or badminton, I don't remember what. We were playing this game and he was watching us and he wanted to learn, of course, right? So we tried to teach him and he was trying to serve. And when he was trying to serve, he couldn't make contact. Naturally, he's trying for the first time. How can he serve properly? So it didn't work and he got so frustrated that he banged the racket down on the floor and he started crying. Okay. Now the first instinct as a mother is to scold the child. It's a racket. How can you bang it like that? But then somehow we controlled ourselves and then we started thinking about what we can do. Okay. So at that time, we used to go to this wonderful library where I started looking for books that I can, because I always go back to stories
Yes,
to find my
yes,
answers.
yes.
So I discovered there was this beautiful book written by Michael Jordan's mother. It's called Salt in His Shoes.
Yes.
And this is Michael Jordan's true story, where he was a little boy, the youngest of so many older brothers, and all playing basketball, and all taller than him. Okay, so naturally, Michael was the one who couldn't play basketball as well as his brothers because he was the youngest, the shortest.
Right.
And he used to get very frustrated. So his mother came up with this idea to tell him that, you know what, we'll put salt in your shoes and this will be like a magic potion. And every day when you go out to play basketball, we'll put salt in your shoes and you'll become taller and good at basketball. Okay. So, and then of course the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
Of course he grew up. But the idea is through this story, my son learned that one, frustration is okay. What he felt at that moment, other people also feel like that. So I think the number one problem with big emotions is we associate shame with it. We feel ashamed that, oh, how did I feel angry or frustrated or afraid? The moment in a story you see that, okay, other people also feel this way, it's okay. It's okay to feel this emotion. That was number one. Secondly, then how you can go beyond that frustration and you can do something about it. You can keep trying and one day you will get what you want. So the next time when we started playing the same game with him, I could see a big difference in his behavior. And so many such instances where I know that storytelling works. Children do get influenced.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a beautiful example. And Devki, that finding emotional regulation, every emotion is important, recognizing that we as mothers or parents, that it's okay to get angry. It's not a bad thing to be angry. That is also important. So, first recognize that emotion and then regulate it however you want to. But it's
And
important.
don't let it stop you. Move
Exactly.
beyond it.
Exactly. Yeah. Beautifully put. Thank you for sharing that story from your life and inspiring us. And that's the magic of stories.
Absolutely.
And as you told, you don't have to preach them. So when you tell stories, they reflect on that and they get it faster.
That is one more very good point that you brought up, Sarita. I would like to talk a little bit about that.
Please
So
go
when
ahead.
I tell a story, I never tell the moral of the story.
Yes.
Okay? I always leave the story as it is. And then I start talking with the child or the children about why do you think this happened? How did he feel? Why did he respond like this? What would you do? Connect to the child's own life. What would you do if this happened to you? And through those discussions, the child will derive that learning. But the moment you put it into a moral of the story, you kind of like put a full stop to the learning there. And nobody likes to be told what to do. Now we also don't like it as adults, so children also don't like it all the time.
Yes, yes. I remember like the quality of question, what you ask is the thought process. You give them food for thought.
Yes.
Not what you think.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when they discover it, that becomes very significant for them because they think this is my thought. It's not put on me by someone else.
Yes. It's the discoveries from within. It is not like teaching way. So
yes, it becomes personal.
Yes, absolutely. This particular conversation can go on and on. Yeah. So let's move on to the next question. So Devki, can you tell me who all can tell stories? Few of our mothers feel very shy or they feel that they are quiet, they can't tell stories. Can they become storytellers too?
Why not?
What do you think?
I think we are all storytellers. Okay? I gave you the example in the very beginning, right? We're always telling each other stories. We meet a friend at a coffee shop and the way we talk to the friend, isn't that storytelling? We are telling stories all the time. And when it comes to storytelling to children, I think it's very important for parents to remember the larger purpose. If you keep the why in mind and your why is strong enough, then those little things about I'm shy or I'm not, I can't make faces, or all that, it doesn't really matter. It's just your child, right? Your child is the one who thinks you're the most beautiful person on earth. Whatever you do is perfect for the child. So these inhibitions shouldn't really matter. And when it comes to also telling stories in public, I tell people you can get over your fear. The way we tell a child that you can get over your fears, it's true for adults also. You can reprogram your mind. I am shy is a story that we are telling ourselves. It's not factual. When you were born, God didn't say, okay, this child is going to be shy. It's a story. Some circumstances made you like that. You can change the story in your mind. It's your mind, your story. So in my training, I do teach that, and I have had a lot of people with immense stage fear or fear of public speaking who came to my training, and through my coaching, they were able to go up there on stage and talk to people. It can happen.
Absolutely. And can you give me an example here? Like, how was a mother before and through your training, and after she got into storytelling, how she changed? You noticed the change. Can you just share that, Devki?
Yeah, so as I said, right now, just recently, a couple of months back, I had this mother who came to me for training. And the first thing she told me is 3 weeks later, I am supposed to go up there on stage at my college. And I'm supposed to address a crowd of college students. And the topic was road rage. So I think they had some event coming up. And she wanted to speak about road rage because she had experienced something similar, a very bad accident in her family because of road rage. And this is something she was very passionate about. She wanted to share this personal story on stage with the college students because she wanted to make that difference in their lives. But she had this immense fear of speaking in public. And I'm very happy to say that, of course, we did the training together, but I also made extra time for her. We had one-on-one calls on this. And I couldn't go up there on stage and talk for her, right? Ultimately, it is she who has to go and do it. But somewhere, I think, hopefully, my words made a difference. And she was able to go up there. And she said, I felt very nervous, but I did speak. And she said, I was so scared that I stood behind the podium because I was scared. So I said, that's fine. But she did it.
She
And
did
I'm
it.
so proud of her for doing that.
That's phenomenal. And that's just the beginning for her. Sharing her stories to the world and inspiring. You made it happen. So that
And
is
see, the reason she could do it was not just my coaching, because her purpose was so strong.
yes.
She wanted to tell that story about road rage.
Absolutely, we need to share our stories. Not stories are meant to be shared to inspire others, move others. Is that is what it is? The magic of stories happen then. Awesome, awesome, Devki. Devki, I also wanted to ask you because years back when I started storytelling, though I was a qualified teacher and all, I also wanted to be a hands-on mommy, and at the same time, I wanted to earn my own, with the side hustle. So I'm sure many in the audience who are, homemakers and who have been working before and after marriage, and kids prefer to be a hands-on mother. Do you think your training, after doing your training, training as a storyteller, can they, make some income and all out of that? At the same time, can they focus their children, their family life, without compromising and create a harmony between life, work and family life? Is that
Absolutely. Yes. So over the years, last 12 years, I have trained over 500, I think, mothers
yes.
to do precisely this.
Yeah.
And yes, they do get empowered in a way that they can start sharing stories with their own children and beyond in their community. Having said that, side income, yes, it is a side hustle, to be honest, because it's not something which can get you your bread and butter, at least in the beginning. Having said that, I know some people who have gone through the Little Leaders training program, and today they are running very successful businesses, which are bringing in money also. They train over 100 children at a time, and they're making good money. But these are people who are the outstanding, you would say, trainees, right? Not
Yes.
everyone is able to make a successful, viable business out of this. But there are examples. So you can, if you have the hunger in you, if you have the commitment, the dedication, you can make it into a business. And I have a lot of mothers who come to me and say that, you know what, I don't really care so much about how much I earn, but I want some personal satisfaction that at the end of the day I did something good today,
Yes.
and I earned a little bit to make myself happy. So that is 100% there, satisfaction 100% there, because you're touching children, right? You're connecting with
Yes.
children, you're making a difference in their lives, you feel very good about it, and you will earn some small income out of it for sure.
So I can vouch for that. Satisfaction 100%. So it's a win-win situation, I feel, accordingly, because you are doing something which your soul calls. If you books and children and stories, if it's your calling, definitely your cup is full with that. And of course, the money part is also there. You start earning,
You should
and
give it a shot. You
yes,
never know till you
definitely,
try, right?
definitely. And do you have any other levels, Devki? What after training? What after training, the teacher becomes the mother, or the teacher becomes okay. She knows now the storytelling part, but after that, what? In terms of, do you have any resource or any materials?
Yeah. So one is I form a support group. So everyone who trains under me, I put them, I give them an option to be a part of a support group,
Mm,
where every week we have a free
mm,
call,
mm,
Zoom call, where people can come, ask their
mm,
questions, generally just share what they want to share,
mm,
celebrate each other's
mm.
achievements, that kind of a support group.
Under-
Also, I do help in terms of providing lesson planning. So, if you are interested in starting a story based
mm,
business venture where you're telling stories to
mm,
children, then I help you with choosing the books, creating lesson plans for those books. That is something I offer in terms of extended support.
that,
And there are different people who choose to use storytelling in different ways. So two of my trainees recently called me and said that we want to start a business, but it is something which is very focused on social emotional learning, and
mm,
we want you as a mentor to help us with one-on-one
mm,
coaching to get that business
mm,
started. So
mm.
I couldn't have been more happy when they told me this. I said, this is something very close to my heart. And I know going forward, I will be mentoring them on that. So these little things, I think, it's customized. You tell me what you want and we can work on it.
And I know your lesson plans because I had, I work with your lesson plans, and that it's wonderfully done. And it's like for the holistic development of the child, as well as I feel the teacher who she also gets to learn a lot. And the worksheets, it's phenomenal. Everything is so outstanding out there, and all the best for your new venture, I would say. I know it's going to make a lot of difference. So coming back to our question, so what is the one takeaway if the mothers have to take away from this after this session? What is the one thing they can apply with their children? One tip that you can share with the mothers.
Okay. So I would be very happy if any mother watching this
Huh.
did this with her child today. Mother or father, of course.
Yes.
So I would say give your child undivided attention for
Hmm.
15 minutes today.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just keep your mobile phone on silent, keep it far away. Sit with your child in your cozy, comfortable nook
Hmm.
of your house.
Yes.
Sit with a book, or just sit, you know, close to each other and talk. Read the book together, or tell a story, or just share about your day, and notice what happens after that. The connection that is created by just those 15 minutes. And I would love if someone could come back and tell me what happened.
Yes, do that. Please do that. And yes, you can see the magic unfold. Being consistent on that 15 minutes will
Yes.
create magic, magic of connection, story. When you start it young, you will definitely, you'll see the connections as they grow older. It's not
Yes.
like one fine day you build a connection. You start to catch them when they are young. So coming back to the next question, Devki, how young can you start storytelling?
So you can start when the child is a baby also. At that age, of course, the child, you don't know how much he or she is understanding, right?
Yeah.
Scientists are still studying that. So you don't know.
Yes.
But definitely the child will respond to your voice, for sure. 100%. Right? So the way you are speaking, the child is understanding something about language through the way you're speaking. The way you're expressing emotions, the child understands a little bit about emotions through your expressions. So you can start when the child is a baby. Definitely start when the child is 1 year old plus. For sure, that is a time you can definitely start if you don't want to start earlier. And at that age, the babies, they are looking for maybe things to just play with. So the book is more like a plaything. Let them explore the book, look at the pictures, turn the pages. Buy sturdy books so that you're not afraid of the child tearing the book at that age. And then slowly, as the child grows up to age 2, the child will sit and listen maybe for a minute or two. So then you can start actually telling stories.
Wonderful, Devki. And someone in the, let me just check any questions. Audience, please feel free to ask Devki. This is the right time with relation to your question. Let me see if any messages are there. Yes, Amita says stories are a game changer. Definitely, Amita. Thank you for that. Yes. So coming back to our next question, Devki, what inspired you to start training others as storytellers?
Great question. See, when I started this storytelling thing from my house 12 years
Yeah.
ago, I was in this space where I was just exploring and having fun and doing things with my child. Okay, but after a few months, I started feeling not happy enough because I always wanted to do something for a larger purpose. Okay? And just a bunch of 10, 15 kids coming home listening to stories, it wasn't giving me that same satisfaction. See, to be very honest, I had left a very lucrative career in New
Yes.
York and I was sitting at home and doing nothing. Okay, and this little thing wasn't making me happy. I was looking for this larger purpose, and then it struck me that the children who are listening to my stories, I see that connection between them and me, really. But what if parents or teachers who have that 24/7 access to the child? And it's really they who need to connect with their own child or their students more, right? Because they are the ones who are always in touch with the child.
Yes.
And that's when I discovered my larger purpose. That if I can empower others who are in connection, who are connected to children on a day-to-day basis, and I can train them, that's when I get the maximum satisfaction that I made a real difference. And
True.
that's how I actually, again, series of events, but that was a real thought behind training.
Yeah, and they say that revolutions start by having a thought, and you created a revolution. I feel in India.
I'm
Yes.
trying.
Yeah, it's showing. It results. Like so many storytellers, mothers, teachers are getting impacted. You are training, and then those teachers are going and training others. For my
Yes. So those
so
are the
that is
secondary effects.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is happening, though it's like a domino thing. You have touched it and it falls. Yeah, yeah. Awesome, Devki. Can storytelling help children manage their emotions, Devki, or cope with challenges? If it's yes, how can they do that?
Yeah. So we just discussed about my son, right? I told you
Mm.
about when he was 4 and he was getting frustrated because he
Yeah.
couldn't serve the ball. Um, so many more such instances I can think of. Like recently, my daughter came up to me, and her school had sent a circular saying enroll for speech and drama examination. Okay, and my daughter is a very very social, bubbly kind of a person, and I was very surprised when she said, "I don't want to do this."
Okay.
And then I started talking. I said, "Why? What happened?" And slowly the story came out. She said, I have a lot of stage fear. I cannot go up on stage and speak." Okay. And first I was very surprised when she said that. Okay. I mean, she's not that person. And it's like, why? Huh? And then when I said, okay, she is actually afraid. So then we started reading that entire week. My story bedtime programming is based on what is the problem happening at home this week. So all the books that we read that week were about getting over your fear, facing your fear. It's okay to be afraid. Uh, and again, it worked. In 3 days, she came and told me, okay, we can sign up for that speech and drama thing, no problem.
So
So what if I had tried telling her that time, she would have resisted. Because again, nobody likes to be told what
yes.
to do, right? There is that barrier in between.
So she
She would have
discovered
become stubborn.
she
Yeah,
discovered.
but through that third party, example, like a very safe stories are a very safe space. I always call it like that, and they're a reflection of life. Somewhere you start connecting it to your life, and you see, okay, this I can try.
Yes, absolutely. And Devki, can you share 2, 3 books to overcome fear? What you shared with Meera, so that if they will help audience. What are
Sure. So there is this very nice book called Silly Billy, which is one of our favorites. It's about a South American concept called the worry dolls. So there is a tradition in South America. If you have a worry, you make a small doll, and that becomes your worry doll. You tell all your fears, your anxieties to that doll, and you put it under your pillow at night, and the doll will take away all your fears.
wonderful?
That was like something very simple,
Yes.
but that she liked. And there is a very nice book by Karadi called The Night Monster. Again, there is a child who's afraid of the night, the dark, and he starts writing letters to the night
Letters.
monster.
Right.
And his older sister is replying as the night monster. Beautiful story. That is another story that worked very well for her. There are oral stories that I tell her, like there is the story about Krishna and Balram, right? Where Balram is afraid of the monster, and the more he's afraid, the bigger the monster becomes. And when Krishna starts laughing at the monster disappears. So, stories from mythology also can be told.
So beautiful. I can go on with this conversation forever and ever. So much of learning. Thank you for sharing. And Pooja has written, I can calm my baby only through storytelling. How wonderful.
How
Since
sweet.
years now. I feed my baby whilst reading story to her. I read at bedtime and during potty sessions too. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And
Yeah, whatever time works for you.
yeah. And Misbah has shared Sarita and Devki. Both of you are great storytellers, story educators, wonderful. Thank you, Misbah, and so are you. And I would love to know stories. Misbah has written, she has a question, Devki. I would love to know stories for overcoming fear of losing. Children want to participate but fear losing. Yeah.
So when she says losing, I think she means not being good enough, right?
I think she means like when there is a competition and when they're participating and they're not in the winning end. So
Yes.
yeah, that is where
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
lose.
So many stories. Any story about growth mindset
Yeah.
is like an excellent story like that, right? Like we just spoke about Michael Jordan's book, Salt in His Shoes.
Yes.
There also he was not good enough, and then he kept trying.
Yes.
And he can get good enough. Recently, I read this book called, if I remember right, it's called Opal's Birdhouse. I will send you the book name later, Misbah. It's about this competition where all the children have to make a birdhouse, and there's a prize for the best birdhouse. And everyone is making beautiful, very good-looking birdhouses. And this little girl called Opal, her birdhouse is not as beautiful, but so she doesn't win the prize, but in the end the bird, when it comes, a real bird, it comes and sits in her birdhouse.
So
So although
sweet.
she doesn't win the prize, the bird gives her some kind of
Yeah.
reward. So I thought that was like
Yeah.
such a something, touched my heart, that story, something
Yes.
about that story.
So Ms. Ba's question is also very relevant, especially nowadays, and it
Yes.
is our responsibility as a parent to make our children raise in a world where there is competition. So we
Yes.
have raised such a generation of children, Devki. I feel like where there is no competition, but when, like the Ubuntu story, where everybody matters, everybody should go ahead. It's not like you go ahead, and we have to cultivate such generation. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. So there is this beautiful African folktale of
Yes,
Ubuntu, right?
yes.
Where
One of my favorite
the
stories.
world is one and everyone can go ahead together.
Yes,
That is a beautiful story actually to tell to a child who is afraid of competition or afraid of losing.
yes.
That there is no win or lose. Everyone can win.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. So, the one of the last questions, Devki, what
Yes.
is one memorable experience or a success story from your journey as a storytelling trainer?
Yeah. So this happened at Little Readers Group many years ago. One of our storytellers, Sadhna, if she's watching this, she came and told me this story, which really stayed with me for so many years now. She said that I was telling a story in class one day about a mother who was very tired and she wanted a break. She was very tired, maybe not feeling well or something, and she wanted a break. And the children in the family said that, you know what, today we will take care of everything. You go upstairs and sleep. And then fun things happened after that. It's a fun story. But the message somewhere was there that, mamas can also be tired and need a break.
Yes.
And what Sadhna told me is there was this child who went home. I think there were many children who went home. And they told their mothers that today I want to help you at home. And how can I help you? And all these mothers were so amazed because this was empathy. See, empathy is such a beautiful life skill to inculcate in a child. I told Sadhna, you know what? You have changed these children's lives forever. Because once they have learned the skill of empathy, understanding other people's emotions, caring about it, their life is going to be so beautiful. They're going to connect so well to people. And you have given them this gift of empathy.
Absolutely.
And somewhere I also played a role in, curating that book and
Of
helping
course.
Sadhna tell that story.
That story name
So,
is Mr. Large, right?
Mr. Large in charge,
In
yeah.
charge.
It's about a mama
And
elephant.
see now what happens, Sadhana's students and our students, whoever listen to this, what a wonderful way they will grow, not even, helping their mothers. And what a husband and wife they'll become when they, after marriage also, the partnership they'll show. The empathy comes and,
Everywhere in life, Sarita, whether it is
uh,
marriage or
of
anywhere, you need
the
empathy.
kind of leaders they'll become is totally different.
The
You
kind of
don't have
parents they will become when they grow up.
parents.
Empathetic parents.
Absolutely, their work life will be phenomenal. Their family life will be, exceptionally good. And all that. Yeah, yeah,
Imagine
yeah.
making that kind of difference. That's what we as storytellers should be really proud
Yes,
of.
that is where we are standing in a world where there is otherwise that is where in our own way, Devki, you are making a difference. And thank you so much. Misbah is writing, Chanda has written, congratulations guys, thank you Chanda. Misbah has written, wow, beautiful story, I would love to share with my students. Thank you for answering that, Devki. And on that note, Devki, thank you so much for, and everybody who have joined us, Pankuri, Misbah, Stars, Chanda, um, Isha, Resh, Reha, Pooja. Thank you so much, Varsha,
Thank
Growth.
you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us and cheering us. And I hope this podcast and this, you take away at least one point from this. It will be a great, for Durki and me, that we spend time this morning just to impact you in whatever way we can in your parenting. And if you want to get in touch with Devki, I will be putting her handle in there. And definitely explore storytelling. I feel not only if you don't want to share it with anybody, but you as an individual, you open up as a person day by day. And the self-expression part of yours is taken to another level, and keep inspiring and keep motivating. And thank you so much, Devki, for the privilege of your time and your privilege of sharing your insights on storytelling. And Thank you so much. I would
Thank
like you to
you,
come again.
Sarita. Thank you. I would love to come again. The way you ask the questions is so warm. I could go on talking for hours
Same here.
together.
We have to do something together again. And we are beginning here. And
Good
yeah, thank
beginning.
you. Yes.
Good second beginning.
Absolutely. Thank you. And God bless you, Devki.
Thank you so much,
Spreading the
Sarita,
word.
and thank you to all the viewers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.